WIC Garden, and fun to have you out here virtually. But you know, we're kind of in the middle of peak summer production. Some beds that have recently been harvested, where we've got things that we've just seeded, germinating, coming on, and some things that are a little more mature. Things that we'll be harvesting for the farmers market coming up on Thursday. So I'll walk you around now if you just want to come with me. So mixed vegetables. This time of year, we're thinking of things in the nightshade family like peppers, tomatoes we'll get to in a second. But so we'll have lots of these sweet Italian frying peppers. These are called Cubanelle peppers or bull's horn peppers. But that's a really delicious little treat that we like. Lots of nice snacking, good sized bell peppers here actually, that we'll have at the farmers market on Thursday, and of course everything that doesn't leave at the market goes for donation at the pantry, and hopefully it'll be kind of our inaugural run with our new refrigeration unit in the health department lobby. Some spicier stuff. This is a pepper I'm kind of actually excited about right here. Kind of looks like a habanero or a hot chili, but it's called an ají rico, and it's very mild. It's like a hybrid pepper. It's sweet, and it has like a little bit of spice, snacking pepper, but it has like this very citrusy pineapple flavor with it. So we're really excited. We're gonna have a lot of peppers at the market. Obviously, some leafy greens, kale, and I believe our master food volunteers are gonna be doing some kale smoothies. So a nice cold, refreshing smoothie that we'll have free samples at the farmers market tomorrow. Lots of herbs. Obviously our basil is like out of control right now, so we're really hopeful folks want to come and harvest some basil. Jalapenos, tons of jalapeno peppers. I don't know if you can see in there. I mean, that's a big one right there. But pepper, it's going to be like a pepper festival tomorrow. Lots of sweet potatoes, so hang out with us. Come back in September. We'll be harvesting hundreds of pounds of sweet potatoes. That's one of our favorite crops here in the garden. But yeah, you know, crop by crop, lots of sweet corn that's starting to come up. This is kind of our second round of sweet corn. We plant this a little bit later, and we get one more harvest around the end of September, and it kind of adds some nice dimension, architecture to the space. When these corn stalks get really large, it's kind of fun to be walking through them, and you kind of feel like you're in a miniature maze out here. In the background, you can see we have more than 20 fruit tree varieties, mostly apples. Apples will be coming on here in the next couple of weeks. Some of our pears are already ready to go, and a few peaches. So a mix of some of our annual vegetables as well as perennial tree fruit. The last of our little leeks, and actually that bed's been planted to, we're gonna get a second round of Irish potatoes, or just kind of your non-sweet potato. We always add, like in some years we always do cut flowers. This year we included a row of zinnias. This is a small multicolor zinnia, and this is really nice as a cut flower. So I imagine we'll probably do some cut flower bouquets for the market, but that's something we just kind of do for ornamental value. A few other perennial crops that we have, strawberries. So we have some day neutral or ever bearing strawberries. So at the farmers market tomorrow, folks will be able to come out and pick strawberries, and there's a few here. And I always tell my volunteers to make sure that they, you know, enjoy a few while they're out here working. And that's just quality control, you know. Another row of sweet potatoes. Our tomatoes, 2 60-foot rows of tomatoes. We harvested a lot yesterday that are in storage for the farmers market on Thursday. You know, and we call this the California or the Florida steak and weave. It depends on how close you are to either coast. With us being right in the middle, sometimes we use the term interchangeably, but you know, we try to demonstrate some techniques that small growers might use who are growing for market, commercial producers. The idea is that we serve like such a diverse clientele, folks that maybe are just getting into gardening, or maybe some folks that are interested in getting into it professionally, that the garden space here is sort of serves all clientele and is educational for all different types of groups. So I think we got a few tomatoes coming on that we haven't still harvested. When you pull back some of these vines here, some nice kind of smaller like cocktail tomatoes, and this one will ripen up really nice. And this has some cool kind of variegated coloring on the shoulders there. I like these quite a bit. A second round of tomatoes that were interplanted into a bed of carrots that we did this spring, so hopefully we'll harvest the rest of our carrots tomorrow, and then give these tomatoes some space to get big. But we try to maximize all the space that we have, and sometimes that means having to plant things into each other. There's a nice good long carrot. And when we get these all washed up, they look real great. So down here you can see some of our apples, and I'm starting to accumulate quite a bag of groceries here, but a couple varieties of apples. You know, we're usually looking for the color here. This is called the background color. So these are all red apples, but we're usually looking for this background green to turn a little bit more yellow before these are ready to harvest. That's usually your best indicator with a lot of the palm fruit, apples and pears, is when that background color starts to get a little bit more pale green, light yellow. And usually if you just pull on them ever so slightly, when they're ripe, they'll come off. But we definitely have folks that come and visit the garden and are seeing all these apples and are trying them a little hard or early right now, and they kind of get pucker up when they try them. So they're still a little tart, and they need a couple more weeks before they'll be ready to harvest. But I imagine we'll have some for the upcoming farmers market in September. Some Asian pears over here. And these are pretty much ready. This is a first year treat. But these are kind of a small Asian pear, which some people has kind of a rough skin here, but the inside is so crisp and juicy. It's really sweet. So we'll have some you-pick Asian pears tomorrow. And back here, we're starting to trellis for our cucumbers. We've got more strawberries. And our strawberry production will really usually be late May, early June. I have our trellising set up for another crop of cucumbers. So we'll have cucumbers going into fall, sweet potatoes, our blackberry planting. We're finishing up a pretty interesting little trellis project here. So we'll be able to manage the canes a little bit better, but you can see some of our blackberry varieties actually flower and fruit 2 times in the year. So you're already getting a second flowering late summer. And then if you walk down the row here, you can see some fruitlets that are just starting to ripen. So we get another second little flush of blackberries, although our biggest harvest is usually earlier in the year. So, you know, this is our 1/4 acre green space here, and we've got 14 beds where we're doing these 50-foot rows, 60-foot rows the 20 fruit trees, and we're growing all the time and trying to squeeze more and more into here. So this is the space that you'll come to if you drop in at one of our volunteer work days, 8 to 11, Tuesday mornings, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.